Well, howdy, folks. It is me, Don't Drone Me Bro, and I'm here with the Thunder Pistol here. It is, yeah, it's safety checked. You've heard me talk about this for years, since actually before I think they even came out, before anyone knew that there was going to be a striker fired to HK. But I finally have one. It's all mine. I'm so happy to have it. I've actually had it for several months. I just didn't tell anybody. Unless you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you probably didn't know I had this. This gun is fantastic. It's everything I would want in a striker-fired gun, minus the whole internal complicated bits inside, but that's a whole different story. I'll get to that a little bit later. But first off, I can't really say anything about this aside from the fact it shoots like a dream, I guess. I mean, it's a VP9. It's German, so you know it's good. Well, to a point. So I've been shooting this mainly in competition. I bought this from a friend of mine. He wanted to buy something else. I can't remember what he bought, but I'm the one who originally convinced him to buy this to go along with his P2000 SK. And yeah, he loved it, but he didn't really like it enough to keep it versus buying something else. So he bought whatever it was, and I bought this from him. When he had it, he installed these Krigicon HDs with the red-orange front sight, which turns out he didn't really like red-orange, and I'm not really the biggest fan of red-orange, but it seems to work better in competition, which gets me to my next point. This is the gun that I have been shooting still challenges matches with. I just started doing that this year. The last time I shot any kind of match at all was with an M&P9, like 4 years ago, whenever I made those series of videos. And this just blows that out of the water. The trigger is much better. The holster I use here is I actually bought this at Texas Gun Fest. It's a DSG holster, light bearing holster. I actually bought it for light before I even had a Surefire X300 to go into it, let alone two of them. But it works pretty well. Retention's pretty good. I had to adjust a tad bit, but overall pretty good. For carry, I actually do carry this, believe it or not, in this condition. Well, previously with this barrel. This is a Raven Concealment Vanguard 3, which is fit for the X300 Ultra or U-boat. Additionally, it also has a Silencer Co. Yep, Silencer Co. 9mm barrel, threaded for 1/2 by 28 thread. So it comes with the thread protector, which apparently is like $33 by itself. Can't believe a thread cap is that effing much money, but whatever. I had no issues with the stock barrel. I don't shoot reloaded 9mm, so no issues with lead. The gun is easily more accurate than I am, and for shooting these steel challenge matches, it's been perfect. I love it. I can't really say anything else aside from that, except for originally with the VP9s, they were a little undersprung from the factory. And I noted that sometimes the gun wouldn't fully go back to battery. If I had it in the holster, it would be just a little out, so I'd have to tap the back of the slide. Okay, no problem there. It's annoying, but I can deal with it personally. Well, then the VP40 came out. I've had this, well, not as long as the VP40's been out, but but they introduced the Tactical. That's the better way to say that. And the VP Tactical uses the VP40 spring. This has the VP40 spring in it now. HK had to overnight the VP40 spring to me, recoil assembly, because of this. A captive spring assembly should not be like this. What happened was that the little retaining clip that's on the end, the muzzle end, flew off. Explosively flew off when I was attempting to reassemble this gun. The day that I purchased this barrel. I actually purchased this from Capital Armory in Austin, Texas. they gave me a pretty good deal on it, so I was like, I'm gonna buy it right here, buy local, even though I don't live in Austin. So putting that back in after test fitting my soon-to-be rifle or pistol suppressor that one day we'll get out of NFA jail. And as this was going in, VP9 guts everywhere. Not seen that happen with anything aside from 1911, so kind of surprised it happened with an HK of all things. But my friend also shot this gun in competition in Steel Challenge matches before I bought it. And just, he used it as his main 9mm handgun. So, yeah, it had some rounds before I got to it, and then I've shot the hell out of it. Doubt it was 5,000 rounds, but it was easily 2,000, 2,500 before this let go. So I'm just going to say it was a fluke that it broke. But it kind of says something about the Glock. This gun is, of course, always compared to a Glock, either a 17 or a 19. A Glock is, well, it's a Glock. It's stupid simple. Yeah, they break, but parts are everywhere. I'm lucky in my case that HK was able to overnight me a recoil assembly, but I don't know if anyone's ever looked inside of the slide of a VP9 or anywhere else in here. There's a whole bunch of little bitty tiny pieces. Stand by since I only have one hand. And I will have to add that retracting the slide is not as easy as before. Surprise, got a heavy recoil spring assembly. But there's all these little bits in the slide, and I'm not going to disassemble the gun to show y'all. Actually, I might, because I'm not sure how many of y'all have actually looked inside of a VP9. But yeah, that's a little bit more complicated than a Glock. If you have a little bit of common sense and you've dealt with a 1911, you can deal with this pretty easily, I think. A lot of freaking roll pins, because it's HK, and Germans love effing roll pins, but nothing too out of the ordinary or too difficult. But it's still more complicated than a Glock. So that is one thing against it. Everything is in their mother is going to be compared to a Glock. But despite all that, I still love this gun. Oh, also, I have not shot this with the VP40 spring, but I get the feeling that because the slide is going to take more force to unlock now with more resistance, the recoil is probably going to be a little bit sharper. The impulse is going to change. Also, it didn't come with this red paint or any kind of paint, which usually denotes a spring change. So I'm guessing that just might be a new thing for HK. They're not going to color the spring blue or green or whatever. I've taken up enough of y'all's time, but I can't say anything truly negative, deficient about the gun itself, aside from I wish mags were cheaper.